All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well, and honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word of sincerity and truth. All right, so I got this article here. I got a couple articles here that I want to talk about. And what prompted me to look these? Well, I didn't look up these specifically. I just put in a couple of words that I was thinking of, and these two articles came up. But what prompted the thought was that you know um, the Massachusetts the Massachusetts governor had just come out and says as of May 6th, um, Massachusetts residents will be um, um, it will be mandatory for Massachusetts residents to have to wear a mask when they're outside in public. And I had been thinking about this, man, because I've been looking at everybody in my job, because the city that I work in had already put out a notice to my job. I don't know if it was to my job specifically or it was the whole town. Um, but you have to. I think it was the whole town, but you have to wear masks in that town. And so we had to, now we got to wear a mask when we're, if you, I guess if you're sitting at your desk, you don't have to worry about it so much. But when you're walking around in the plant, you gotta have your mask on. So so I was looking around at people, at work, and how they got their mask on, and like my job, excuse me, my job has been taking this social distancing uh, thing really seriously. And you walk up on somebody, like, naturally, you when you're talking to somebody, you walk up on them, and you walk up on somebody, and you get too close, they get to backing up. It's like those you have when you got two magnets, and they're on the repellent side, and they kind of push away from each other. The closer you get, the more the other magnet moves away. That's how it looks at work. And I was thinking about this, man, and I said, what is Esau to gain from this? I always look at it like that, right? When certain things are going on, I said, what is he doing with this one? What is his purpose, or his justification, or what is his end game, right? Because all of this stuff is a means to an end, right? Social distancing, the coronavirus, real or otherwise, right? I happen to think it's real, but real or otherwise, all of these things that he's doing right now in these times are a means to an end, and that end being the microchip, the mark of the beast. And so I asked myself, like, what is he doing with this social distancing, right? And I mean, my mind thinks of these types of things, and I said to myself, he there's a couple of things. One, Esau is making people comfortable, right, with doing the things that he does naturally. And what I mean by that is, like, Esau is naturally uh, against um, synergy, right? Because when you think of synergy, right, you think of how people work with trees, right? You breathe out the the elements that they take in, and then the tree breathes out the elements that you take in, right? That's a synergy. But what does Esau do? He cuts down trees. you know, so he's making people get used to the things that he does naturally. He's a natural adversary, right? And being social, right? When you look at our people, the nation of Israel, we're a social people. You see Jake having a conversation, they laugh, they bump up against each other. One when Jake might grab your shoulder and shake you a little bit, pat you on the back. We're just a naturally affectionate people, and I think that Esau is using this to get people used to getting away from those things that are innate in humans, right? then the second thing was creating a level of desperation in people, right? If we can get the people desperate enough, they'll do whatever we ask them to do, right? Like now, like it's getting like right today's a nice day out, right? You know, it rained all day today, but now the sun's starting to come out. I'm down here by the water, people walking, they got their cars all parked. You probably see, you can hear the skirts, they showing off, people act up when the sun come out, right? And after a while, they're gonna wanna they're gonna wanna be outside. They're gonna wanna socialize. Those people that bought those new uh, those new Challengers, they want to come out and let their engines roar at the Walmart parking lot. You know, they want to be outside amongst people, and they're gonna be willing to do whatever they have to do in order for that to happen, man. In order to execute their summer, in order to have their summer the way they're used to, they'll be willing to do anything. And this is what Esau is doing. He's creating a sense of desperation in the people. So that they'll when it comes time to take that chip, when it comes time to you know uh, line up and get those vaccinations, people are going to do it without protest. Look at these Edomites out here protesting, talking about stay at home orders and slavery and whatnot. Esau's a trip, boy. So when it all comes down, people are going to line up for those things without argument. So I pulled up this article and I wanted to read a little bit of it so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, right? So this is from NPR. It says supporters of digital currency say pandemic bolsters case for a new approach. Okay, it says this. It was updated Monday earlier this week. All right, so it says widespread unemployment and economic turmoil as a result of the coronavirus pandemic means people are looking for government relief fast, which some say could open up the possibility for a new approach, digital currency, right? And now we've been saying, right, that the chip is more than just its main thing will be, of course, being able to transfer your funds, but the chip is going to be a litany of things, right? It's going to be a bunch of different things rolled into one, right? But the main thing is this digital currency. Now think about this, right? People are going to be afraid to be affectionate for a long time. And I don't mean like romantically affectionate. I mean like shaking hands and hugging and whatnot. People are going to be afraid to do those things for a long time. And now if I offer you an alternative, like, hey, look, let's offer you this money that you don't have to touch. It's germ free, right? It gets inserted into your body one time. You don't have to worry about it ever again. That's what we're coming into, man. That's what we're coming into. Okay. It says, but there are many hurdles to overcome, including adopting the infrastructure and growing trust in the system. Now, there may be a hurdle in people beginning to trust the system, right? But this is why um, all of what's happening with social distancing and wearing your mask and creating this level of desperation is happening because they want people to trust in the system. They want the people to be so desperate that they'll take whatever they're offered, right? What do they say? Problem and solution, right? Order ab chaos. This is what Esau's doing, man. This is what Esau's doing, right? Now, as far as the infrastructure goes, right? The infrastructure is already in place. Now they may have to add a tower here and a satellite there, but the infrastructure down here on the ground level is in place. Because if you look at your local keypads for your debit and credit cards, all of those things are equipped to take Apple Pay, which is basically you just touch your phone up against the digital pad there, and it removes the funds from your whatever your Cash App or your Apple Wallet, whatever it is you have, and you're able to pay for your goods. So the infrastructure is already in place. You don't have to do they don't have to do much more. They're taking the position that, well, in this article at least, they're taking the position that, there's a lot to be done, but it's been being done for years, for decades. This infrastructure is being built. The mentality has been being built. Like when you had those commercials when debit cards first became big, like you had Seinfeld, he had one where he went to the gas station and he yelled down into the pump, "Release the hounds!" And then he put the pump down in his car and pumped the gas, and it ended up going like 2 cents over the amount he wanted to pay. And then the guy, the clerk from the gas station was like, "Yeah, now you gotta give me an extra dollar to make change or whatever." And Seinfeld whips out his card and scans it in the pump, right? And then you had the other one where they were in the store, they were doing like ballroom dancing, and everybody would at the end of their shopping would scan their card, and then this one guy comes out with his cash and the record screeches, right? So they've been conditioning the minds of the people for this digital currency for many years, man. For this cashless society for many years, right? This devaluing of the dollar, of the gold standard, right? This has been happening for many years. This is not something that they just thought of on a whim based on coronavirus. This is something that's been in the works, right? So it says, since Congress passed the largest economic relief bill in United States history last month, direct payments to Americans have been trickling out. The most vulnerable Americans could wait a long time for their funds, though, especially people without bank accounts. About a quarter of households either did not use banks or use financial services outside of the banking system in 2017, according to the latest survey from the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. More than half of unbanked households surveyed said they did not have enough money to start an account. Which, come on, man, it takes $20 to open up a savings account, or a check. It don't take. And then if you like, maybe some of these people don't work. I'll keep that in consideration. But if you work and your job allows direct deposit, that's all you need to open up a checking account. That's all you need. They just like it's like Citizens Banks have one deposit checking. So basically, or one check deposit banking or something. I forget the exact name of it, but basically, as long as you're depositing one check a month, you can keep your account open. You see, so it's nothing to open up an account, man. I'll say this, boy, these women, man, they they don't want to stay in the house. You bitch, you bitches gonna be in for a rude awakening, man. When all hell break loose, trying to be outside being cute, y'all gonna be in for a rude awakening, boy. Let me see. It says as chairwoman of the House Financial Services Committee, Representative Maxine Waters, Democrat of California, drafted a provision in in an early version of the relief package that called for digital wallets for people without bank accounts. The measure did not make it into final legislation. Not this time, but it will. Now come on, man. We got to talk about this because we're I'm saying we. This article is making it seem like this digital currency is a new idea. But there's record of Joe Biden saying that they will have to rule on a digital implantable microchip. This is not new. This is not new a new thought. This is not a new idea. Okay. All right. So let's see here. It says, I'll read a little bit more than this, and I'll get to the scriptures. It says digital currency could also cut the lag time of mailing a check or even transferring funds into a traditional account. Right. So you get those folks, right, who try to be off the grid, right, who try to be against the grain. Oh, I ain't put my money in no banks. And they hear everybody else getting that stimulus. Everybody else getting stimulated. Your ass is sitting there looking crazy. You're gonna say, "Damn, I want my 1,200 too." So what you gonna do? You're gonna take your little mattress bread and you're gonna bring it down to the bank and you're gonna open up an account, man, so you can get your stimulus check quicker. right? Now imagine if they make a habit of this, right? Where they say every 3 months we're gonna give out $1,200 and 500 per child. What if people gonna be like, damn, I'm gonna take part in that too. That's the ploy, man. They get everybody dependent on the federal government for funds, man. So I got another one here. I didn't mean to take 15 minutes on this one article. Um, I'll read it. So it says, crowds gather around the country to protest social distancing. Right. This is from the Intelligencer. All right. It says, 1 month ago, President Trump stood in the White House press room and told Americans to stay home to help stop the spread of the coronavirus. Avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people. It says, avoid discretionary travel and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts, Trump said, finally seeming to recognize the gravity of the global pandemic. But now he seems ready for that to end, and he's not the only one. Protesters around the country have started gathering, some in groups that defy social distancing recommendations, to register their disapproval for the ongoing economic shutdown tied to the coronavirus. On Wednesday, opponents of Governor Gretchen Whitmer's stay-at-home order in Michigan held a car-bound protest dubbed Operation Gridlock, organized by the Michigan Conservative Coalition. The protest saw the streets around the Capitol in Lansing filled with vehicles. The traffic jam blocked at least one ambulance. Okay, so I saw that headline and I said, let me read that because what's happening, right? The desperation is being fostered. So now, people want to get out of here, man. They want it to stop. They want it to end, right? And that's what they're doing. They're creating a level of desperation. So when those vaccines come, when that chip comes, people gonna line up for it. Now, there's an example of this in the scriptures, right? So when you go to Genesis, right, and you read the story of Joseph and how he helped Egypt to become a great nation, a similar thing happened where the people became dependent on their government, right? And they were willing to give away all their goods so that they can have corn, man. Right? So this is let me see. Where do I want to start? Start at 46 maybe. Uh okay. This is Genesis 41 and 46. It says, "And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years the earth brought forth by handfuls. And he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities. The food of the field, which was round about every city, laid he up in the same. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much, until he left numbering, for it was without number. And unto Joseph were born." I'm just going to get into his family line here. All right, so let me jump down to 53. It says, "And the 7 years of plenteousness that was in the land of Egypt were ended, and the 7 years of dearth began to come, according to Joseph, according as Joseph had said. And the dearth was in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, Go unto Joseph, what he saith to you, do. And the famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses, and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. And all countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all the lands, right? So now this wasn't deliberate by the desperation anyway, wasn't deliberate by Joseph. That wasn't his intent. But their desperation caused them to go to Egypt in want of food, right? Now, if you go into the next chapter, it starts to talk about. Matter of fact, why wouldn't I read that? Why wouldn't I do that? Let's do that. Let's see, because this one is talking about something. This is like the family stuff here. I want to get to where it talks about how the people. sold their lands. Let's see here. Bear with me for a second. Let's see. I think it's maybe 43. Here we go. I'm gonna start at 1. This is Genesis 43 and 1. It says, "And the famine was sore in the land, and it came to pass when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said unto them, Go again, buy us a little food." Oh, this is not it. This is not it. Bear with me for a second. I'm trying to find this one part. Did I pass it? Well, in any case, for sake of time, I'll just speak about it here. Like when you get into the story a little further, the people started to, they sold their lands, right? And then that made it so that Egypt took over all of these different lands, and they were underneath the power of Pharaoh because of the desperation that the people felt from the famine that happened. You see, so it's the same thing, right? So let me go to this last scripture here that I have pulled up. Okay, this is Isaiah 30 and 1. It says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion." Right? So the trust in Egypt is going to be your confusion. Why? Because that's how they're going to implement that chip. That desperation is going to make you line up for it, man. And we told you, the elder apostles, starting with the elder apostles, we told you that they're going to make it, how we said it was, they're going to make it cool. They're going to have a rapper come out and say, "Be hip, get the chip," right? And this is another facet of that, where they're making the people so desperate that they'll be willing to take any solution, that they won't even think about it being a bad thing, because they just want to get outside, man. You know? So that's it. That's all I had. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, as always. And then double honors to the apostles and elders, and honor and salutations to the hopeful elect. And with that, I say shalom.